In this current day and age, marketing overwhelm is something that happens a lot to a lot of the business owners and clients that I am speaking to. My name is Nell, I'm an action coach, business coach, and I help my clients put together really great marketing plans that help them get great results from their marketing. Now, marketing overwhelm happens when there is too much confusion around what needs to happen when, where do you need to be, too many thoughts in your head, not enough actually mapped out. So let me share a couple of top tips with you that will help you deal with that overwhelm. And the first one will be no surprise. It needs to come out of your head and it all needs to be mapped out. A lot of the overwhelm really comes from knowing that you have to do a newsletter, but there is no deadline against it. Knowing that you want to release a blog, but you haven't mapped it out or you've not allowed yourself the time to write it. It's having all this content available and not really knowing what needs to release when. So the first thing we need to do is create a plan, bit of a brain dump that allows you to go, what needs to go out when? When do I need to put the time aside to research this, to write this, to put this together, whatever that may be. So first of all, simple plan. First top tip, get it out of your head onto a plan. Then it's all about actually what do we need to fill content with? I love working with themes and I often get clients to work with themes and it makes a massive difference. Now, themes will allow us to fill content pretty easily because we're working towards something simple. So instead of saying, oh, this week I could talk about the 10 products or services that I have, that's too much and then it kind of becomes a mess, which is where the overwhelm comes from. Also, because we've not allowed a lot of time for it, potentially, it means that a lot of the things that are going around, the things that are happening around us, marketing then becomes this last thing on the list. And before you know it, you've got no inspiration, you're tired, and then we end up just forgetting it. So then we're not being consistent. So the simplest thing is set some themes either per day or for the week, and then just fill that. It's a bit easier. So if you're waking up on a Monday morning and you're tired and things aren't going the way you want them to go, and you've got to write a social media post and you're like, oh, but you know that our new theme is Motivation Monday, that's a lot easier because you just go and find a motivational quote, you get it ready and you send it out. So create some themes that link into your business, something that's relevant for your business, but something that is easy to help you fill with content. Top tip 2. Third one, going back to content, most of you will have lots of content already that you write, create, had previously for certain areas that you have never reused for others. The blogs you have written just sit there, but have never been used for 60 seconds. They've never been used for social media posts. They've never been talked about in your newsletters. So how much content have you actually already got that all you need to do now is really just go in and update it, take snippets out of it, reuse it in other kind of strategies. So reuse the content that you have. Don't create it just for the one strategy, create it for multiple. And then the last point links nicely into strategies, and especially around the digital kind of strategies. We have so many platforms out there right now, and everyone feels that they have to be everywhere. And I've done a video on this before, but the first thing is always be clear on who your target market is and where do they sit. Where are they? If your target market is mainly on LinkedIn and Facebook, get that running really well. Let's get really confident, really structured, really consistent with that. Then maybe you can add in a third platform if you wish to. If you are mainly targeting the younger generation, you might not want to be on Facebook, but you might need to be on Instagram or TikTok. So be really clear to start with, what are my key 2 platforms? Let's get consistent on those. Let's use the planning and the theme setting and the contents to get consistent on those platforms before you add in a third. Ultimately, we are aiming towards a 10 by 10 marketing strategy. And the 10 by 10 marketing strategy simply means that we have 10 strategies running, 10 at the same time, that we know that each of those gives you at least 10 leads. That sometimes requires trialing lots of different ones, testing and measuring which ones are working and which ones aren't working, so you know what to keep and which ones to get rid of. Ultimately, we want to get to a 10 by 10 strategy, but to start with, make sure you have 2 platforms that you understand are consistent with those, and then let's look at getting into a consistent habit and no overwhelm by having your plan in place, your themes ready, your content rehashed, so you've got epic marketing going out without feeling overwhelmed.